Hi, I'm Seamus Haji. I've been DJing for probably 25 years, producing and remixing very consistently over the last 15 years. Been running my own record label called Big Love. I also do a radio show on Juice, Brighton dance show for the last 4 years, Saturday nights, 10 till 12. And also done journalism in the past, written for music magazines, and I do A&R consultancy for Toolroom Records. My panels, I just did one which was about the need of management. Is it important to have a good manager? That was really interesting. And we had a mixed bunch of people, you know, from sort of DJ booking agents that just deal with gigs that are now also getting into the role of managers. Also someone from a record label where they're now also starting to take on the management role for their artists. And somebody that was just an independent manager. And there was one other chap who actually was just a friend to a band called The Levelers. I think they're Brighton based. So he just was a friend and he got into management. So it's quite interesting. One was like, how important is having a manager? And then also, what kind of a manager?
And your other panel?
The other panel is, we're going to have soon, is about vocals in house music, because it can be seen as maybe a bit of a dying art with the way that dance music is going, but also at the same time on the underground, but on the commercial sense it's obviously proving really popular at the moment. So it's heroes of house, and we've got some interesting people on the panel. Robert Owens, who's one of the original Chicago house vocalists, Steve Mack, a fellow Brighton producer who's worked with many classic house vocalists, myself as well. I'm hosting it, and I've worked with a lot of vocalists. And also James Wiltshire from the Freemasons. Again, he's worked with many vocalists, so that's the next panel I'm doing. I suppose it's about not losing it, the importance of vocalists in house music. And I come from a background where music used to be a lot more varied. There was instrumental tracky stuff, but there was a lot more vocals around. And I think the way things are going, a lot of the sort of clubby underground DJs are going very non-vocal. And I think it's about the way of trying to get the vocal, not losing that vocal element, and how it can be used in a new context. Because I think it's still valid, it just needs to be worked with in a different way. It's fantastic. No, it's brilliant. I mean, I live here. I think Brighton is obviously a fantastic place to do it. For many years, going back to 1996, I started to go to the Winter Music Conference in Miami. Obviously a fantastic location. That's obviously part of the inspiration. We've got ADE in Amsterdam, which is also, it's well positioned and there's a lot of facilities there. So Brighton's it's a fantastic place. In the whole of England, it's the best place to have it. Because we've got so many venues and we're by the sea and it's a nice environment. So I think last year was the first year, and like people are always a bit pessimistic about how something's going to go. Oh, should I get involved? You know, the industry, major players, and I think they proved themselves that they did a fantastic job, very professional, and obviously I think the people involved behind it have got a lot of experience in the trade show side of things. So they've got the trade show in place, and then it's getting the industry more and more involved and having these kind of panels and discussions that we're having to really, one, give that knowledge to those that don't really know about it, and then also the industry panels where you're actually giving good advice and spreading knowledge and sharing that within the industry, because we're all looking at what the next new thing is. So it's important. I think the BMC is really important for the UK, not just, you know, it is Brighton Music Conference, but it's a UK thing, and Europe as well. God, yeah, it's changed. It wasn't back then. The management thing wasn't such an issue. It was kind of like, you know, you do a DIY approach, and then you might get a booking agent. Now it seems like people, some kid could just make a few tunes, go to music school, learn about making music, post a few tracks up on SoundCloud for free, and then next thing you know, getting interest from managers because they're all watching. Where's the new talent going to come from? So, you know, I think you have to be careful about who approaches you for management. I mean, a great example is Phono, who's from Brighton, young guy, I don't know, he's probably 18, 19, 20, made a tune which is just blown up. And already he got management from the get-go. Somebody but the person who's managing them knows what they're doing. And he's got a lot of interest because his tune has got spot plays on all the specialist shows on Radio 1, and now it's been signed to a major and it's getting spot plays during the daytime, so it's not long till it gets Radio 1 playlisted. So his life has just gone from studying music, learning about it, making it, doing a bit of DJing, but not really. You know, it used to be you would establish yourself as a DJ. You didn't even need to produce. Then it got into, now I need to produce as well. Now it's like someone who's not actually a DJ as such. I'm not saying this about phono, but there are people who aren't DJs as such. They make a tune, the next thing it's like, you know, come and DJ, and it's like they're thrust into that spotlight. And within all of that, they're going to need a manager. So I think it's to do with how big you are, where you start off in the game. If it's so big that you can't handle it, or you haven't got a clue how to go about it, then a manager's really important, and it's good to have that person in your corner. But it was a lot different to when I started out. So I have a show on Juice Brighton 107.2, and it's also on digital in the whole of the south of England, and obviously on the World Wide Web. And aside from that, the show that I do is also, I syndicate it around the world. So it goes to about 35 other stations worldwide. So it's not just, but Juice is that's where it starts off. The show broadcasts on there first, 10 till 12, Saturday night, and then it goes on around all the other stations. And it's just music that I'm into. I'm not told what to play on my show. And I try and keep up with the trends, but it's house music, but then there's all the fragments within that. It could be tech house, new disco, deep house, a bit of future house, all these new things that come along, disco re-edits, and it does encompass stuff on my label, Big Love, stuff that I'm producing or remixing. And for me, it's what's good about house music at the moment is what I play on my show.